Very good morning. Welcome to the start of action in day 2 of the Ultimate Pool Pro Series. Coming to you live from Blackpool as ever, as we get the last 32 action underway. Hiten Patel taking on Jordan Shepherd. Mark Shepherd and Eddie Barker with you for this one. Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning, pool fans.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning, all you pool fans out there.
Day 2 of a long weekend. We'll be playing semi-finals and finals of this tournament tomorrow, so this will be played over 3 days. We've also got the second event of the weekend kicking off tomorrow morning. So a lot of pool to be played around the venue. Lots to be decided as well. I know the commentators always dwell on this more than the players, but the last tournament of the year is always very entertaining when you look at things like rankings, seedings for next season. Feels like everyone's playing for something. Hiten Patel just outside the seeded spots at the moment. He was seeded for this year. He's within touching distance, a couple of places outside at the moment, so good run this weekend gets him into that top 32 again.
Well, Hiten will not be happy with that to start with. That's quite a simple pot he missed there. Looking to open up the 2 yellows as he did, but he just took his eye off the ball.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you just look at the cannon. I was watching the cue ball when it first came off thinking he judged that well, and then you glance over at the yellow and realise it's still on the table.
The thing is, sometimes when you miss a simple pot, it'll punish you because your opponent's balls are all sitting there, but sometimes a lot of it just depends on how the balls are laying on the table. You can actually get away with it, because if you look at this now, I mean, he hasn't left Jordan an awful lot to go at. Firstly for his first shot, but just generally the layout is poor for Jordan Shepherd.
Played a good shot there though. You know how attacking he is. If there'd been a finish he'd have been going after it, but as you rightly say, nothing on to go for.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on that one, to be honest, because I think he's left the hitman a chance to have a go at a plant in the centre pocket here.
Yeah, well, I suppose the results-based thing, it was a sort of good shot in that it put some pressure on. If he gets that plant, it would have been a very different story.
Yeah, that was a bad misjudgment again. However, still Jordan hasn't got the greatest layout here on the table. The main problem being in the bottom left, the red that's right next to the 8 ball. Just tried to develop the red there. It didn't quite come off. I'm wondering here if we might think about doing the back double, screwing the cue ball off the bottom cushion and trying to dislodge the red and the black. That's what he's tried.
Well, good call and almost good execution, but just came up short. Bit of a scrappy opening frame this. Both players have had a few goes at things that haven't quite come off. Well, that's a better shot. He's now kind of in position. He's not got the perfect angle on this ball to the left centre, but he is on it still.
Yeah, nice clean pot, but he won't be too happy where the cue ball's landed, because ideally he wants to be playing his last yellow being the one down the cushion, and he can just drop it in for the 8 ball into the right hand centre pocket, or just pull it back a touch into the bottom right hand pocket. But he's the wrong side of this yellow now, so he may have to alter his pattern.
He thought he could get down far enough for the ball to the middle. That seemed ambitious from the angle he was at. Can clip the one down the rail, which probably gives better position, but it's a more difficult pot. Again, not absolutely perfect position, but a good pot to keep it going. Just wants to settle down and win the first frame.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of traffic here. He's got to negotiate. Interesting to see how he plays this. He may be playing this with a little bit left-hand side of the top cushion. He's actually playing the more difficult part at the top left-hand pocket. Just in off the near jaw.
Yeah.
Enabled him far better, an easier position on the 8 ball. So it's third or maybe fourth attempt. Looks like Hiten's going to put the 8 ball away for frame 1. Yeah, the conditions are second to none. He's hit that break lovely. Will he get a reward? And he does. And this, I don't anticipate in this game taking 5.5 minutes like the last one. I think these reds will probably be gone by the time the clock gets down to about 43 minutes.
Yeah, he's taking longer thinking about these than he does for some clearances, but I think once he gets going, as you rightly say, it won't take him very long. You sometimes see that from Jordan, does maybe take a moment or two to warm up in a match. By frames 3 or 4 of a match, he's usually flying around the table. He's just got his eye in and got the first frame on the board. Unquestionably, one of the form players coming into this weekend. Won one event and had a semi-final the last time we were in Blackpool.
Yeah, and I was just having a little chat with Jordan early on as well. I mean, he's a fantastic snooker player as well, but speaking to him, I think he's decided to focus back more on the ultimate pool rather than what he was doing at the snooker. I think he still plays a little bit, but he's focusing more on the pool. Then you know, let's see what results he can get when he's really trying. That's a loose one. He won't be happy with that, but he's still at the table. That could easily have gone in off there.
Always had a natural line towards that ball. I think he just thought he could just flick past it.
Yeah, he could have played it with a bit of side, just thought of the line of the cue ball or done something different. But either way, he's still at the table and he's just got to get this cue ball in and out of balk and come back somewhere towards the centre of the table, and he should be with on a choice of 2 reds. He's controlled that absolutely lovely.
Yeah, that's an exquisite positional shot. If he runs too far, then he gets himself into trouble, but that's perfect.
He couldn't have put it better by hand. That's a beautiful shot. So he's taken more than I anticipated. He's going down to about the 42-minute mark, but either way, it makes no difference. You get a frame on the board whether it takes 1 minute or 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's definitely the kind of player that gets more dangerous once he's got a frame or 2 on the board. Yeah, I actually think switching cues is almost the more difficult bit of that, as you say. If you can play snooker and English pool with the same one, that's at least a lot of the battle.
Yeah, well, I've always been a believer in sticking to what you know, and I've had my cue now for nearly 34 years. And playing with the same cue with slight modifications to it over the years, but not a lot. Whereas I know that a lot of players do change their cues, they change their tips, they're changing their chalks, they're changing the socks, they're changing everything. I even heard Sean Murphy recently, obviously top snooker player, taking 2 or 3 cues out to play in snooker matches, depending on the deflection that he gets when he's playing with side, depending on the cloth they're playing on, which I thought was quite bizarre, because I couldn't entertain the fact of playing with 3 cues in a year, let alone in a match.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? He's got a lot of ridicule for that, although, I suppose if you look at other sports, it's not uncommon to see a tennis player come out with several rackets. So some sports is a kind of common thing to do.
I know, but it's totally different. I mean, your cue is so personable to you. You're looking down the grain. It's such a game of fractions. It's the weight of the cue, the length, just the feel you get with the tip and everything. A tennis racket is a tennis racket, and it's the same. If it's the same make and manufacturer and the same model, then it's going to feel the same generally. And I would imagine the same with a lot of equipment in a lot of sports. But in cue sports, if I pick up somebody else's cue, it would take me quite a period of time to get used to that and play to the same level that I do with my cue.
That's obviously famously evidenced by Stephen Hendry playing with the same cue for so much of his snooker career, which wasn't seen as being a very good cue, but obviously worked well for him.
It definitely worked well for him. It just goes to show you don't have to have the best technology as long as you've got something that works for you and you're comfortable with. That's really all that matters. Anyway, in the meantime, Hiten Patel has been going through these balls in a nice manner, taking them very well. Just got to bring the cue ball back maybe about 18 inches here for the black into the left centre pocket. Slightly overrun, but I wouldn't say he's going to miss these unless there's a blue moon out.
No mistake from Hiten Patel. 2-1. Well, how's he come up dry here? If that ball doesn't find the pocket. Looked like the cue balls were fighting to find the way in, but just didn't quite make it.
Yeah, nice split there from Jordan. Just didn't get the reward it deserved. Looking at the way the balls have landed, I think yellows will probably be favourite here. With the question you'd really be asking is the yellow by the red by the right hand centre pocket, does that go? And it probably just does. And the other issue would be the yellow in the bottom right hand pocket, not so much the potting of it, but the getting position following playing that shot. I mean, you can probably put it from anywhere around the centre of the table, but the cue ball will be going into the red, so you need to make sure you're on your next ball. Hasn't landed ideal there. I think he's going to take a bit of a reroute here.
Yeah, trying to check the cue ball up so he didn't cannon into the red that's nearest to the break line, but it's just come a bit too far for the ball to the right centre.
Now if the yellow does go into the right hand centre pocket here, I think the ideal position would probably be to get the cue ball back to roughly where it is now. Then you can play the yellow into the right hand centre, bring the cue ball back about 6 inches. And that looks nice. And then you can put the yellow that's sort of bang in the centre of the table. And for this last yellow, I'd imagine he's probably just going to be trickling it in for the 8 ball into the left centre. But let's see how he goes about this.
Well, that's not going to be the best way of going about it.
No, that was a poor shot by Hiten. However, again, hasn't left Jordan a really good opportunity. But to be fair, Jordan's only really got one problem here, which is in the bottom right hand corner. If he can manufacture some sort of skill shot or some sort of loss of turn shot, and he could turn this frame around.
Yeah, in days gone by, having that ball over the bottom corner would be quite useful insurance, but in this rule set, it's not actually necessarily a very good thing at all.
This will give us a good indication of how Jordan's feeling. Would he be playing to pot it in off the side rail and the yellow onto the yellow, which will split the other two out? He's just going for a more measured approach. He's going to be trying to split it from this shot here.
It's quite a big target to hit. The only problem is that he's not guaranteed to be on any other ball, so he really needs to try to get position on the ball that he's cannoning.
Plenty of pace in this one. gave it plenty of pace, but he got the full ball contact. If he had a half ball contact there, the cue ball could have gone nicely up for one of the 3 reds. But he's actually put himself in trouble here. There's no easy safety. Because the red that's closest to the cue ball, if he tries to skim off that, he's dicing within and off. Can't cut it back in. I think he's playing half ball off the left hand side of this red. Try and get the cue ball over to behind them other 2 reds, but he's caught it too thin. He's left the game.
Yeah, that's suddenly gone all wrong. Hiten invited back to the table with a very tempting position.
Yeah, it's an opportunity Hiten didn't think he'd get.
The most difficult yellow is the one below the 8 ball, but because he can take the second ball down to the right hand corner and just run through, guarantees position to the bottom left for it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
It's a bit too much angle there, which is why I was having to play with a bit of side, but still should be fine here.
I can see Hitten's made a lot more mistakes than Jordan in this match, just that he's had far more opportunities, which is often the way in pool.
Yeah, it was actually the shot before that, well, 2 shots ago, that was kind of the mistake. It was when he had the first ball into the middle pocket and needed to come back straighter for the ball down the right hand side, and then that would all have been easy. It would have been quite a harsh scoreline actually if it had been 3-1 to Hiten, but that is the nature of the game. Sometimes you do get more chances. Jordan also will be happy with the 2 players if it does go 2-all, but it's probably broadly fair on the balance of play.
Yeah, I think going forward though, over the long run, if Hitten's looking to win this match, which obviously he is, he needs to up his game. He just looks a little bit off form this morning to me.
That means early in the morning, but it's the first match of the day for both of these guys.
He seems to be maybe a bit more inconsistent than some of the other, top players. He's when he's hot, but when he's cold. And I think if he just improves his consistency, that would see him get more results.
Yeah, that's the challenge for so many players, isn't it? You can look amazing some days, but then it's doing it all day, every day. That's what the really top guys do.
Yeah, and he won't be happy with that break-off shot. The cue ball very nearly went straight in off, but when it does tend to knock about those top corner pockets, there's every chance another ball's going to come along and help it on its way, and that's what happened there. So anyway, he's left Jordan a ball in hand, anywhere in bulk, choice of reds or yellows. I think quite rightly he's taking reds, so there's just more issues, well there's more of one particular issue on the yellows, which was the yellow towards the right hand centre pocket. I think he's disappointed with that because he was looking to play on the he was looking to get the cue ball about there off his first shot so that he could just nudge the yellow out of the way for the other red. But either way, he had a second opportunity to play that shot, so he's still in good stead.
May actually turn out to be a good thing. That wasn't the route that he was intending to go, but now he's cleared one of the 2 balls to the top corner. He's just got to play one easy positional shot back for the one in the middle, and then all links up pretty well. He had a pretty inconsistent season up until the last event. He had a lot of first round losses and just hadn't really made much happen, and then I don't know if he'd been practicing a lot more or if it just happened to come together, but turned up to the last event and certainly flew out of the blocks.
Yeah, it was very unlike Jordan the beginning part of this season. Everybody knows how much of a fantastic player he is, but he just wasn't getting the results that you'd normally expect, and then obviously he's come good in the Pro Series events 7 and 8 at the last weekend that we held up here in Blackpool, and he's looked ultra focused that weekend. I watched a few of his games. He's taking these out as you'd expect, clinical fashion, never really any danger of going astray.
The ranking number, but it's still a nice achievement when you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4.
So another fantastic break there from the Welsh Wizard. Again, he's got his reward. And he'll be looking to keep this momentum going. 2-1 down, now 3-2 up. He seems to be swinging his way a little bit now.
Yeah, and Hiten will be aware of that. Anybody that's watched even a few minutes of Jordan knows that once you let him into a game, he just gets more and more dangerous.
Red ball's in play.
He's played that cannon nicely. But you know, I played it so nicely because he's plotted the red as well. You'd be really hoping he can get through to this red into the bottom right hand pocket, and it looks like he can.
Yeah, the time spotting 2 balls in 1 shot isn't a good thing. Don't do too much damage there though.
Yeah, looked to me like that might have been a slightly heavy contact. The cue ball just seemed to hold up very quickly there. So this isn't as straightforward as he'd like to get on his next red. Mainly because of that yellow on the left hand side. If he can just slide through the gap there between the cushion and the yellow, that would be perfect. But that's tough to miss that yellow completely. But he's done it. He's played it nice.
Yeah, that's a really good shot, isn't it?
He's played it so nice. He's too straight on this red into the centre pocket. Would have liked a slight angle so he can come out to be straighter on this last red, but Jordan's potting ability. You certainly don't fancy him missing this one at all. Just try and screw the cue ball off the left hand cushion to just avoid the yellow. To come out for the 8 ball into the same pocket.
That's perfect. That's exactly where he's aiming. You're kind of looking at the midpoint between the yellow and the centre pocket there as a guide to where you want to hit the cushion. Really do with the first visit opportunity. Hit that pretty well as well. You can see the cue ball going up and down the middle of the table in a straight line.
Yeah, that's a far better break there from Hiten. And got a choice here. Reds or yellows. Pros and cons for each one really. If you go for yellows, the issue's going to be getting on the 8 ball. If you go for reds, you've just got a little bit more traffic to negotiate. The red up towards the top left. The red sort of in between the red and the yellow, which is what Hitten's playing for now. He's decided to go for yellow. And I think what he was trying to do there was actually bounce the cue ball into the side cushion and knock the black out to develop it, knowing full well he was going to be onto the yellow into the left hand centre pocket. That was his plan. Didn't cue it nicely enough, and although he's opened the black up slightly, he's actually struggling on his next yellow.
Yeah, he's got himself into unnecessary trouble here. Well, not great, not terrible. He was a bit limited into what he could do from there.
Yeah, he's just made an effort at the safety shot. However, I think he's left Jordan. I believe a choice of 2 longish reds. And Jordan is one of the players you do not want to leave a long pot to because of his snooker pedigree. Got an excellent straight cue action. You fancy him getting this, to be fair.
Just so effortless as well, just cued it in like it was over the pocket.
Yeah, that's nice because he can now play the red into the bottom left hand pocket, just hold the cue ball for the red up to the top left. I'll be looking just to screw the cue ball back just. Probably a quarter ball cannon on the yellow that it's closest to, maybe just miss it. doesn't want to overscrew this because he needs to be roughly straight on the second last red to get onto the last red. Come back about 6 inches. Decided to play it going forward to guarantee him the shot, but leaves him a longer pot, but as we know, Jordan doesn't miss many of these, if any.
It's a useful thing to have in your arsenal as well, the fact you don't mind leaving yourself a long shot. Meant he didn't need to dice with that yellow trying to play tight position. So he just wants to screw over to the side cushion. Just got into that a bit more than he wanted.
Yeah, that's an example of what I was saying earlier about the difference between the snooker and the 8-ball cue balls. That's a snooker ball that's further down the table because it's the same weight. The lighter ball will react and come back further. If he was straight on this, it's just a question of just potting it and easy 8-ball into the centre, and he's having to play it around the angles for a difficult 8-ball, and with all that he's missed it.
And this could be a massive moment in the context of the match, because if he goes 5-2 up, he's been the dominant player the last few frames. It'd be very hard to see a way back for Hiten. But if Hiten wins this frame, he's only going to be one behind.
And he should win it now. There's no obvious issues to deal with.
See the side view of his cue action there. It's a very unusual light grip on the cue. Hardly looks like he's holding the cue.
And I think he plays with a slightly overhanging tip as well, as a few players like to do. I wouldn't say it's a popular choice, but we definitely get a few players that like to see the tip overhanging their fairway slightly. He's overscrewed that by some considerable distance.
Pretty good recovery shot though. And this relatively simple 8-ball completes the frame. So, could have been 3 frames behind. He gets it back to just the 1.
His level lowered due to probably due to a bit of fatigue over the weekend. But over the whole weekend, I think Hiten only won 3 out of the 9 matches, and he won the group.
Yeah, it was the strangest of the Players' Championship groups. I mean, that's sort of the good thing about that format. The way it works, that first group, just got to finish in the top 4 and get through. The second group stage was well, some people liked it, some people didn't in terms of the format, but did mean that you could sort of squeeze through that again without necessarily playing at your best. And as you say, it was a very long weekend, so ultimately it's whoever does it in the final. That's been important to him though, because that's been way his deepest run so far this season, so that got him a few ranking points that he was otherwise missing.
Red ball's in clear.
Nice little swerve shot that by Jordan to get this visit going. He didn't land too nicely off of his break-off shot, but now he's got negotiated that swerve, and then he's all look quite well positioned for a clearance here.
Not really a player that dwells too much on what's happened in the past, just gets down and gets on with it, so even though he let slip that last frame, that's going to be out of his mind now. Got a good angle here to retrieve the potentially difficult ball in the middle of the bulk area. And just got a natural last couple of shots down this end of the table near the 8-ball. And again, this sort of mid-distance shot for Jordan, although this is over the pocket, he's no thoughts of ever missing from this position. Beautifully straight cueist. So, normal service very quickly resumed after a slight anomaly in the last frame.
Three.
29 minutes played.
Trading 5 frames to 3.
I would say I'll let him buy me breakfast, but it's part of the deal.
Actually, a pleasant morning for a walk for once in Blackpool.
Yeah,
Nice sunny
very
morning
nice.
outside.
Very nice. been down there for Hiten Patel just when he needed it most.
Red balls in play.
Jordan won't be happy with that one. Expect he'll probably be playing a loss of turn shot here, just screwing the cue ball off the red. Now he's playing a back double.
Yeah, I was with you on that one. It looked like that was maybe a slightly unnecessary risk. And obviously, if he gets the back double or if he covers the pocket, it's all right. It felt like the loss of turn kind of left it to Hiten to make something happen.
Yeah, well, I think he thinks the momentum's with him. He'd normally get that back double or at least take the pocket. But yeah, it's unusually far out on that back double there. Hitten's let him straight back in. It wasn't the easiest shot. You expect Hiten to make it.
Yeah, that's quite a big let off because now all these reds go. John's in good shape to move to at the top of the table, which could otherwise have been difficult to get on. Just has to screw around the back of the second one.
Just putting an absolute shed load of right hand side there on the cue ball. There was no screw or anything like most players would play that shot with. You just let the side do the work.
Yeah, good example of how to play that shot. Not, as you say, how everyone would have played it.
But this isn't ideal. It's so unideal that he's actually not even looking at the skill shot. He's looking to cut this back into the bottom left hand pocket. There's a gap there between the two yellows. But no, he's left it and he's left the game.
So both players have had a decent chance already in this frame. Hiten's going to be mighty relieved to be back. Jordan's problem there was it was just very hard to get the cue ball out of the balk area and down the table. If he could have got it anywhere down the right hand side of the table, the game was there for the taking. He's played that pretty well. Had to play it yellow off red. Wanted to make sure he got the red out of the way. Bottom of the yellows does pot to the bottom left hand corner, although that red is still slightly obstructing him. That's why he's played the cannon on the ball above, because the bottom left pocket wasn't available for that ball.
Yeah, that's just made things a lot easier for Hiten there. So clear these two down this end, down the bottom end. Landed a bit straight on this than he would have liked, so he wants to be sort of punching this in off the side cushion, coming out to leave it straight for the top right, which he's done nicely. And just try and bring this cue ball back a few inches. Doesn't need to be too precise. Good example there, you can see the tip overhanging his ferrule on his cue. There's a few snooker players do that with the larger cue ball, but there's not many pool players that play with a tip that hangs over the edge like Hiten does.
That would drive me mad. It was something you used to see back in the day with more snooker players. It's not so common now. And it's sort of odd because you're effectively playing with a bigger tip, but just choosing not to play with the rest of the cue being bigger.
Controlled the cue ball nice, but it got flicked about, nearly went in off. But he's potted a ball, which is all that matters. But sometimes people go on about the important thing on the break is getting a ball down. The important thing on the break for me is how the balls land, whether you pot one or not. You know, the ideal break is if you pot a ball and one colour set goes really good and one colour set goes really bad. Because that way you know that if you do miss your colour set, then it's still difficult for your opponent. You know, you take it all day if you pot a ball and they're both good, both colour sets are good, because at least you pot the ball and you get first chance. That's a great double, by the way. But if you're consistently potting a ball and not landing on something, you know, when you do have to hit a cushion after contact, it's quite difficult sometimes to make it safe for your opponent. Sometimes you're giving away first opportunity quite simply because you just didn't land on the first ball.
It was a good first double there because the cue ball was very guarded in that corner and he'd been turning away quite an open table. That's not been quite right though. He was hoping to just sneak above that yellow to leave the red to the same pocket.
Yeah, I think he might have been playing to cannon the yellow that is close to the cue ball now. But he missed the cannon. Let's see what angle he's got on this yellow. It's roughly straight. Might be able to screw straight back onto the yellow, which he's tried, and he's in the same position as before. Twice he's tried to be on that red.
It's in the same position as before, but he hasn't got the saving ball over the middle this time.
No, that's true. And he doesn't really want to touch the red into the bottom left-hand corner because that's blocking the way for the yellow that's down there as well. So he's trying to play a nice flare shot here. 2 cushions to pot the red. Or at least cover the way for the 2 yellows into the top right, which he's played nicely actually. It's probably more of a priority, that was. And let's see how Hiten's feeling here. He's a frame behind. There's still plenty of time on the clock, nearly 15 minutes. But he's got an angle here to play a plant. And cue ball down on to split the yellow up. But he's deciding just to play a containing shot, is he? Yeah. Just keeping it tight. Very much like a game of chess in international pool rules. When you've got more pawns on the board, it's an easier game to win. Which he realises he's got his foul.
Time running.
Which is 1 visit, ball in hand, anywhere on the table. He's not going to even try and do this in 1 visit. He's going to develop his 2 yellows first and keep the cue ball safe. Loss of turn. Played nicely. And now he's hoping again to get another foul. Following that foul, he'll be putting the cue ball on the left-hand side cushion so that he can put the yellow into the right-hand centre pocket. That would be my way of going. But he's got to get his foul first, which he hasn't got on this occasion. There's still work to do.
Never going to be easy to get the second foul there, but it probably was still the right shot because when he was last at the table, the 1 visit, even with ball in hand, wasn't quite enough. A couple of different problem areas. So, does he go with the positive, or is he back to trying to get snooker again? In a perfect place to play a safety shot. He's got the option here, either playing positively, trying to get position on that ball on the left hand side of the table, or trying to extract a foul. Looks like he's going to go for the positive way of playing. Got a decent-ish angle, just about going to the cue ball enough to swing off 2 cushions into that yellow.
He needs to make sure he hits the yellow here. If he misses it, could go in off the top right. He played it at a controlled pace and didn't manage that.
Sorry about that, momentary glitch with the audio. We're back with you now. So, same equation still for Hiten. He's got to find a way of getting into or onto the yellow that's tied up on the left-hand side cushion.
I think he's going to have to pot this ball and then try and play a snooker behind the yellow on the top cushion. He's taking an attacking approach, but low percentage in my book. Because if he could have got a snooker, if he'd just dropped that in, he could have quite comfortably just clipped half ball off the yellow, made sure he's made contact with the top cushion, played the snooker. Even if Jordan got out of it, there's a really good chance he knocks the yellow out, or clears the red out the way for the yellow, or leaves the cue ball in that bottom left hand corner for a shot up to the top right or the top left on that yellow. So I'm sitting doing here, just doubling the yellow down maybe onto the red, trying to use it as a bit of a blocker. That's what he's trying to do. Probably would have wanted a little bit more pace on that. I think Jordan can actually go for this pot now. I think he's probably got a good half of pocket at least to aim for. He can just bounce the cue ball off the top cushion up, sort of like about a third of the way up the table, and he'll have a cut on his last red. That's probably what Jordan's looking at. He's just keeping it tight.
15-second shot clock in operation.
He's at Hitten's got nothing, apart from potentially a snooker, which would be an easy hit. Careful of the cue ball in the middle pocket. Played it nicely, which is about all he could do from there. And the black's a little bit awkward here, because although you fancy Jordan hitting one of these reds, he can easily catch the inside of one of these reds and going off. Nicely played. However, there's a shot here for Hiten, top right hand corner. Tough pot, but if he gets it, the cue ball's going to knock the other yellow out as well. It's game on. He's got it.
Big shot that from Hiten. Very important. Sets up the finish. And sets up the chance to level the match.
I thought Jordan might have gone for that pot at the previous visit, a couple of visits ago. He was always going to leave hitting the easy snooker there.
Playing a best of 3. 8 minutes left on the match clock.
And he's made a ball. I think he's on the red. To the top left pocket as we look at it on the normal angle, top right pocket now.
Extension calls.
They're not easy, but it's a chance. Nice cannon on the 8 ball. Let's just open that up even nicer. He's got to negotiate that top right hand corner. That's going to be the problem. Could potentially, I was trying to split it straight away. Not sure that was the right shot. Certainly hasn't come out nicely. There was a potential 3-ball plant there. He could have played red onto yellow onto red, which I'm sure he could have made comfortably. He's looking at a similar shot now, but a cannon onto the yellow. This is a lot harder, but he's made it. But now he's opened up Jordan's yellow in the same shot. He's not actually on a red, and he always had the red on the right hand side. That was the issue. I think Hitten's just decided to go for everything here. Oh, what an attacking shot! And it was a great effort, to be fair, but it was always, so risky with that centre pocket being there.
Tell you what though, if you go slightly high the centre pocket, cannons the yellow out of the way, then the game's there for him.
Yeah, it was very attacking.
Well, it looks like it was too attacking, because now Jordan's given a much easier opportunity.
Yeah, just say if you're gonna take a shot at the king, you got to make sure you kill him. And he didn't. And he is the current title holder, I suppose. He won the last event. Am I right in saying that? Event number 8. So he's sort of like a defending champion.
Yeah, he's going to be quite relieved to have this chance, because there was a moment this match looked like it was going to be plain sailing for him. Then got himself dragged back into a quick race in the last few minutes of the match clock. Yeah,
Jordan's going to be forced now into playing the yellow into the top left as his last ball. That wouldn't have been his choice. However, 2 ways of playing it. You can take the cue ball into the middle of the table for the 8 ball into the bottom left. or you can land straight on it and give yourself all sorts of problems. Watch the side on the cue ball. I know he hasn't played it that way. He's just played a lovely controlled shot, actually. Yeah, wasn't quite as straight as it looked on the screen, so played that nicely. As most of these matches are. There's no easy victories. Jordan's gone dry just when he needed a ball, and he's left hitting a fantastic chance. And you know what I said about this game not going the distance about 25 minutes ago? Well, it might do. It's going to be close if Hiten wins this frame, as he should from here. And these balls are lovely.
It feels like it would be fitting to have a deciding frame, given the way it's gone. Not sure Jordan will really be able to understand if he gets dragged into his deciding frame how that's happened, because he hasn't done a whole lot wrong. So he's made the transition down to the bottom of the table. Just want to keep control of the cue ball. Everyone's there waiting for him.
He's purposely made sure there he's got an angle on this yellow, because he knows that if he can just land over to the right hand side, roughly straight on the yellow into the bottom left, it's going to be simple. And he's done that. It's a little bit more, not quite straight, but good enough just to keep it simple. Again, it's the right side of this yellow. They come lower. If it went higher up the table, sorry, it would be more difficult to get on the 8 ball. And Hiten's a changed man. At the beginning of this frame, this match, he was all over the place. God, he didn't hit that black too well though. But let's just see how these balls come out right from this shot here. Cue ball straight down the line. Ball potted. Happening up the top right there. I think the red goes. These reds look lovely, and Jordan will probably be sitting there shaking his head at this precise moment in time, thinking, what on earth has gone wrong in this game? He was looking so comfortable at 5-3 up, and the balls have just turned against him. He's playing yellows. What's he done?
Extension call.
Surely there was no need to play at that pace as well.
Chance that Jordan wasn't expecting to have, and not so soon.
No, he thinks all his Christmases have come at once here. But that's a loose one there by Jordan. He'd love to play that again. You give him that shot 1,000 more times and he'd never play it that bad again. This is the pressure of a deciding frame. He can still pot this though. Only just. Gravity took that one in. Bit shorter than he would have liked. Another 2 inches would have been perfect. Can he dig down and avoid the gate ball? Not quite, but he's okay.
That's a good nudge on the 8 ball. That sent the cue ball up the side he wanted.
Is he going to play it off the top cushion, cannon into the red? And that's what he tried. Oh, okay. I think he thought he was coming around the back of the red there. You see the bodily movement? He was praying for that nudge. Fine cut. Cue ball down the right hand side of the table. And I'm pretty sure he makes this 8 ball for the match, and he will be mightily relieved.
Jordan Shepherd, 7-36.
Wow, what a match that's been. Jordan Shepherd should have won it earlier. Hiten Patel could have won it at the end, but Jordan eventually comes through a tenth deciding frame.